Hi everyone, and welcome back to another session of IGCSE Math Preparation. My name is Irfan, and today we're going to talk about time. Before I start, I must tell you that this topic is quite a short topic, and if you already know about time, you can skip this video and go to the next ones. But this is a syllabus in IGCSE math 0580, and I have to cover that for the sake of completion. So if you want to express the time, there are two ways, there are two systems that you can follow. One is the 12-hour clock, and the other one is 24-hour clock, right? So in 12-hour clock, if you want to say you wake up 6:30 in the morning and you go to school and then you come back home at 3 afternoon, you can present it this way. So 6:30 would be AM and 3 afternoon would be 3 PM. So this represent hour and this represent minutes, right? So this would be hour. I'm sorry, this would be minutes and this would be hour, and this is minute. Now, if you want to talk about the same time, but in 24-hour clock, you would say 6:30 is still 6:30, but you have to put a 0 behind 6, and 3 p.m., that would be 3 hours after midday or afternoon, which is 3 plus 12, so that would be 15, right? Same thing, this guy here represent hour, and this guy here represent minutes. Now, usually in order to avoid confusion, in timetables, they stick to the 24-hour clock, but in IGCSE exam, they want to confuse you. So most of the time, they give you in this system. And what makes it difficult is when you want to add and subtract time, for example, the time of arrival from the time of departure, or the time that you start doing your homework and the time that you stop your doing homework, you want to do the subtraction, see how long it took you to do that specific task. What you have to bear in mind is that this guy here represent minute and this guy here represent hour. So let's say if you start your journey back home at 3:15 p.m. and the journey itself takes 55 minutes. So if you want to add 55 here, so you must know that you cannot exceed 60 here, because 60 minutes is already 1 hour. So you just add these two numbers, see what you get. If it's more than 60, then you subtract 60 out of it and add 1 unit to the hour. So in this case, 15 plus 55 is 70. So 70 minus 60 is 10, but that 60 didn't disappear. We know that 60 minutes is 1 hour. So I'm going to add 1 to 3 and I get 4:10 p.m. Right? As simple as that. For the subtraction, we do the same thing. Let's say, let's reverse this question. Let's say you arrive home 3:15 and the journey was 55 minutes. When did you leave school? So now that's the matter of subtraction, because you reached home 3:15 and it took you 55 minutes. We want to know when you left school. So if we cannot subtract 55 out of 50, so you have to borrow 1 from 3. So this becomes 2, but 1 hour is equal to 60 minutes. So you add 60 units to this guy, it becomes 75. And now you subtract 55 from 75, which gives you 20, right? And 2 minus 0, this is 0, 0, right? That gives you 2. So you left school at 2:20 p.m. and after 55 minutes, you reach home at 3:15. So this is the only tricky part about this topic. And there is one more thing you need to know, and I'm sure by now you already know it. It's the equation or the formula of speed, which is distance over time. So that's another thing that you need to know, because they usually give you the time of travel and the distance and the speed. So you end up finding the distance, or they give you the distance and the speed, and you have to find the time, and then you have to add it or subtract it to find when you arrive or when you have departed. So let's do a few examples regarding this. So the first example is about a woman who catches a bus home each evening. The journey takes 55 minutes. So if she catches the bus at 17:50, when does she arrive? So this is already in 24-hour clock system, right? So it's all right. And you just have to add 55. So 1750 plus 55. So here we get 105, but subtract 60 from it. That leaves us with 45. So that 60 minutes did not disappear. We're gonna add 1 to 17, and that becomes 18, because 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour, right? So that was just a matter of simple addition. So here we have a boy who cycles to school each day. His journey takes 70 minutes. When will he arrive if he leaves home at 7:15? Okay, so we have 7:15 plus 70, so it's the same thing. That gives us 85. 85 minus 60, we're left with 25, but don't forget to add 1 here, so that's 825. So this is important. It seems like an easy question, but many students, they make reckless mistakes usually when they get to these questions. Now let's make it a little bit more challenging by bringing the concept of speed into the question. So here we have a plane which leaves London to Boston, a distance of, so, okay, when the journey is too long, we have what we call the time difference, right? So the time at your hometown and the time at your destination is different, and you have to consider that. Usually I take care of that right from the beginning to avoid any confusion, but you can do that at the end as well after you found the time of travel. So, okay, let's continue. The plane leaves at 9:45 a.m. The plane travels on an average, so this is the speed. So we don't know how long the journey took, right? So this is where the equation of speed comes handy. So we know it's distance over time. So you have to find time, make time the subject of the equation. So that would be distance over speed, which is 5,200 divided by 800. So that would give me, okay, 6.5. 800 6.5. Now, this is not 6 hours 50 minutes, guys. This is where students, again, some students, they make mistake. This is not equivalent to 6 hours 50 minutes. If you convert that into hours and minutes, you would get 6 hours and 30 minutes, right? Which we're gonna add that eventually to this time, the time of departure from London. However, the issue rises when you want to convert that into local time in Boston, right? Because they say, what is the time in Boston when the aircraft lands? So when the aircraft lands, if you look at your wristwatch, the time that it shows is the London time, right? So you have to take care of that 5 hours difference somehow, which since they say it's behind British time, we're gonna do a subtraction. So you're gonna add these two together, and then at the end you minus 5, and then that's the final answer. So let's do the addition first. 9:45, or there's another way. You can find the Boston time when the departure happens, meaning which if now it's 9:45 in Boston, it is actually 4:45, right? Minus 5. So then add 6:30 to this. That's another way you can do this, right? That's another way it can be done. So maybe I'm gonna stick to this since I have written it already. So this is departure time, but departure time, that's the Boston time. And then you add 6:30 to it, and you get, this gives us 75, and you have to subtract 60 from it. You're left with 15, and then add 1 here, which gives us 11:15. So it's still AM that's in Boston, right? That was a nice question. And there is another question that students quite find it difficult to do a conversion to hours and minutes, just like the same thing I did here. The 6.5 hours, right, is equivalent to 6 hours and 30 minutes. So we're gonna do the same thing here. So the first part of the question is not really difficult, because you know time is actually a distance over time, a distance over speed, which if you do that, the answer would be 5.9 hours. So a misconception here again is that the students treat this as, some students, they treat this as 5 hours and 90 minutes, and that would be totally wrong, okay? So this 5, of course, shows us 5 hours, so 5 is correct. How about this 0.9? How do you convert it to minutes? You can obtain that by forming a ratio, simply 0.9 or 9/10 times 60, right? 9/10, because you want to find out what is 9/10 of 1 hour, which is 60 minutes, right? And that gives us 54 minutes. So let's get back here. The final answer is 5 hours, 54 minutes, as simple as that. So I would say this is the quite tricky part. The rest should be easy, and I think this is a good place to stop. Thank you for watching this video, and stay safe.